All right, so that's good. Like we kind of talked about like things that, and if you think of any, let us know because these are really interesting to kind of go back.
There's
to.
a lot out there.
Oh my
gosh,
There's
so
a lot.
many.
Like I'm sure if we sit down and really think about it, we can come up with so much more.
Yeah, for sure. But my question is like for you guys, how do you think that West Indian parents showed love? Like, let's go specifically on the love aspect because we kind of, jokingly around it before. But how do you think West Indian parents showed love?
I think they show it by, and Trudy touched on this earlier, the whole sacrificial love thing. Like, just think about this. You are coming, you are in a country, right? And then that you grew up in, you knew your entire life. And this is something that a lot of Caribbean parents do. They would go and travel. Sometimes they bring their kids. Most times they don't.
Yeah.
And then they would make some money, have a place to live, and then bring your kids up here, right? Like, to me, that just shows how much, like, your parents love you. And even though, like, they may not be around to tuck you in every single night and, be there for you while you're growing up. And again, this can be like, okay, well, is that parenting if they're not really around when you're growing up? But I say all this to say, like, it's still that sacrificial love of them, doing, literally exploring, finding a place, and then, like, bringing you there for a better life in order for you to, like,
So they were working
live
towards
well.
A better life.
Yeah, they're working towards a better life. So I would say, it goes back to my first thing. They're very hardworking people, like, very hardworking.
The way I see it is that the way they show their love is the rules and regulation that they have. With
Yeah.
Just think about it. If they didn't love you, they'll just make you run wild. Like they'll just make you do whatever you want. But the fact that they have these rules and regulation is so that you can grow up to be a better person. You may not like it, and most people wouldn't like that. But if you really think about it, it's coming from a genuine place. It's that they want you to grow up a good individual, an upstanding individual, one that respect authority, one that, treat your neighbors, your elderly with respect and everything like that. And that's why they have these rules and regulation. So I see that they show you love by that, just by the rules and regulation that they have out there.
Yeah, just holding on that point a little bit because, like, in preparation for this, I was reading a number of things and just about West Indian parents and stuff, and I saw like a lot of not a lot, but I saw some articles and like statements where people were just sort of they were basically saying, oh, it was so bad that my parents did this to me. Or my parent did that to me when I was growing up. But like just pausing on that, like if you really think about it, yes, it might have been hard when you were going through that thing, but it's for your own good. And even for me now, like as a parent, now being in that shoes, it's like, I would want my kid to follow those rules or whatever.
Yeah.
It's not like I'm trying to antagonize them. It's
and
just...
I like what you said earlier. They don't know better, right? This is what they know. This is how they believe it's the right way to parent it. So that's how they're gonna do it. That's what they learn. They don't have the information that we do.
Yeah, and that's the thing, Terry. That it doesn't mean that you need a perfect parenting book or strategy for how to be a parent. It's just sort of like taking those experiences and making the best for your kids. And like West Indian parents, they were really trying to make the best for us as kids, right? But what about you, Trudy? How?
So going on that point about making the best for their kids, West Indian parents are strict, especially when it comes to, let's say, education, right? That's a big one where they want to make sure that, their kids are getting the best possible education, and they would be, kind of strict on that. So I know, especially for those, like, I guess for Terry and Tari, like, growing up in the Caribbean, like in Grenada itself, like, they would use, like a rating system or ranking system, which I always thought was crazy that like they would rank the kids
first,
in
second,
the class,
third,
like first,
And
and they make a list. They put a list.
It's
up.
actually quite embarrassing because
No, even if you're like there's 30 kids, you could be 30th in class.
Yeah,
so
and they would
imagine
put that up so everybody sees. Like,
Yeah.
I was like,
now,
oh my
just
god.
going back to the difference between Tari and I,
Yeah.
is that Tari is always in the top 3,
Uh-huh.
and I have never cracked the top 3.
Did you at least make top 10?
Yeah, but I'll be happy if I finish number 5. I'm happy.
Yeah,
if Tari finished number 5, he like that's
Cry.
not.
Yeah, I was crying.
So it was only if you're number 1.
Yeah, top 3. Yeah,
Top
I always
3,
wanted to be in that.
Yeah, no.
But yeah, that was a big thing. Like they had ranks.
Yeah.
All the way to the
Intense
20s.
rank.
Yeah, and like I know like a joke like you'd always hear like with like kids who grew up in West Indian households is like your parent would be like you bring home a report card and it's like 98%. They'll be like, okay, where's the next 2%? Like why am I happy about this? Like so I know for me even growing up like I would have friends and if they get like 1A on the report card, they're like, oh my gosh, I'm so happy. My mom's gonna buy me this, that, and the other, and I'm like walking home with my report card and I'm like, I have like 5 A's and I know my parents are gonna buy me anything. Like they'll just be like,
There's
okay,
no prize
that's good
for
for
doing
you.
what
That's,
you're supposed
that's
to
your
do.
education. Like
That's
that's
what
the
you're
prize in and of
supposed to do,
itself, right?
Yeah.
So I do think it's like a part of love too because they want to ensure that you're becoming the best possible
Absolutely.
person that you can be.
And if you look at it now, today in our society, there's a lot of like studies and stuff where they're saying like giving like an award for everything is actually bad.
Participation
Yeah,
awards.
they're
The most
saying there's
ridiculous
some
thing.
bad
Yeah.
side effects of that because like the kids just feel like they feel entitled that they're
Yeah.
always
Yeah,
they
I
should
can see
always
that.
get something for doing just the most basic of things.
Yeah,
so
no, that was
that
not
on
a
the
West
flip
Indian
side,
thing.
that could be
There's no participation awards.
There's
There's no
no-
like, oh, good job. Like, no, it's
They'll
either
make
you
fun
did
of
it.
you.
Yeah.
They'll be like, hey, boy, you're stupid. You didn't make it on the thing. Yeah.
That remind me, once I ran like this long distance race and whatnot in school, road race or whatever, and at the end, I give like a big sprint, right? Like I wanted to finish strong. There was someone ahead of me, so I sprint really hard. I finished off really strong, and then the guy was like, why is he showing off? It's not like he's coming first or anything. He's like, he tries so hard to finish whatever. Like, he's not coming first or anything.
Yeah.
Why is he running so hard?
So it's like they really they just care about But what else, Rudy? What else?
That's such a bad mentality. I'm sorry. It's like if you're not first, you're nothing.
No,
You're nothing.
you.
But I
You
think
can always do better.
Yeah, you can
Yeah.
always- even when you're first, you could have been first faster.
Yeah, it's not fast enough.
But I don't think it was like. I don't want it to seem like we're saying it was like they were negative or bad towards
No,
us.
no,
It's just they
No.
wanted-
no, absolutely no.
Yeah.
It's not like negative. This is more so. It's just like they did.
That
What
and
they
looking back
could
at it,
do.
you can laugh at it and
Yeah.
be like,
Yeah.
you
You
can
see,
look back
you
and you
see,
can laugh
you
at
see
it.
what the intention was. It just looking back is funny, right?
Yeah, and like there are always ways where you can like improve on
Yeah.
the way that
And that's the point.
you,
Like,
you were
it-
brought up, and they brought you up. You
They're
don't have to
training.
continue that cycle. Yeah.
but with the whole point with like even the parenting and being strict and stuff, like it kind of creates like a sense where you don't want to just be mediocre, right? Like
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
kind of like it kind of pushes you that way. So you have that self intrinsic drive where it's like, okay, well, yeah, I got a 80, but I know I have more within me kind of thing. And that's really what I think they're trying to teach us in their loving.
And they don't want you to settle for
Yeah,
that.
don't settle. Yeah.
You can do better. So-
And it rings true even into your adulthood because
Yeah.
for me, they always used to be like, Troy, you could do better. And now with my, like with my filming stuff and when I'm editing things or whatever it is, I think to myself, I can do better. I can do better. And I try to be better every single time. And like it actually works. Right. So it's like, there is a lot of merit in the way that
Exactly.
our parents grew us up. And yeah, I'm just forever thankful for that.
Yeah, me too. And like for me, the way my parents showed me love, like no matter what, I never felt that my parents did not support me.
Yeah.
You guys would agree with that, right? Like you
Yeah.
never
100%.
felt like I hear people sometimes say stories of like my dad wasn't there for that or my mom wasn't. I never felt that I think that your parents, they may not be like with the pom-poms on the sideline cheering, but they're there. Like my parents were like my mom even and my dad as well. They were always there. Like whatever we were doing, they would like, let's say in school, right? They had like the parent teachers meeting parents show up. My mom would show up. Like I remember once in school, my mom came and she like gave me a hug or whatever. And the principal the next day in front of like the general assembly with like 500 students, he's like, yeah, there was a kid. It was such a heartwarming. The same principal who gave us legs. He's like, it was such a heartwarming to see this mom and this son there, and the mom was hugging the son, and he pointed my name out. So like things like that. It's like
Harry Phillip was hugging his mother and
and it was an all boys school, so the other boys were like, yo, what's wrong with you? But you know, it was still, but the point is like I find like West Indian parents, they're usually there. They usually show up for your events. They're always there, and I really like that growing up. Like, yes, they may not have been like, oh, I
love you,
but they showed up when it mattered. Like they were there when it counted. Right?
And going back to the whole sacrifice, like they would always make sure you have whatever it is you need.
Yeah,
so
you never go hungry.
Even if it's a case where like a mom or a dad would have to like do 2-3 jobs, like part-time, like take night shift, like they'll do whatever it takes to make sure their kids have everything that they need.
And that's the only time parents would not be there. It's not, that's what I meant. Like, it's not like they weren't there for no reason. You know, like some people, they're like, oh, my dad was never there or whatever. No, it's like they weren't there because they were actually trying to provide for the family. And like I found out stuff now that I'm older of like sacrifices my mom made when I was younger that I had no clue.
Yeah.
Because I was just being a child, right? And it's like, whoa, my mom was doing that, my dad was doing that or whatever. Like, whoa.
And that's the thing. Like our parents, they make sure that our only job most times
was
to be a child.
Yeah.
To listen to them and to
listen,
be
be a child and get good grades.
And, like, you know, but
it's your only job.
I mean, and I'm also mindful of those who had to take the parenting role when their parents weren't there. So like, I'm also mindful of that. But their main goal of like you being a child, it was like you have like a roof over your head, you have food and stuff, like that's the be a child part. But like there are some others who had to take that parenting role, and like, you know,
and just thinking of other people too, Troy, like yes, we know like people have different experiences with their parents and stuff, but for like, I'm talking from me and like from my experience with like friends I have, like the parents, they genuinely actually wanted the best for their kids and wanted them to have a good life. You know, there are some people where they did not have good experiences with their parents or whatever the case may be. But my thing is like, try to focus on like
the positive,
the good that you got from them. And like, as you get older, I find you learn more about your parents as you get older.
And judge them on the information that they had, not the information that you have. Because right now you're going to acquire a lot more information than they do.
Yeah.
But based on the information that they have, they can only be the best parent based on
like
that.
now there's books like, oh yeah, you should hug your kids 4 times a day or whatever, like at 7 a.m., 9 a.m. or whatever, you know.
It's true. And like they have so many books that are just like, okay, so your child might be this type of child and this type of child and this type of child. And like, here's how to parent for each type of child. And it's like, our parents never had this stuff. No. Our parents were just
one
like,
type of parenting.
There's the good child type of child and the bad type of child.
Yeah,
the good type of child goes to school.
The bad child get blows.
The bad child gets licks. That's it. That's it. There are only 2 types.
So, okay, I'll tell you guys this one because it needs a little bit of thinking. I'll tell you guys mine, and then while I'm saying it, you guys can tell me one as well. So the question is, what's a favorite memory you have with your parents, right? So I'll give you a little time to think of it by saying mine, right? So my favorite memory that I have with my mom, like after my dad passed away, was when we came to Canada and, you know, the struggles, the ups and downs that she had trying to get us through university and, you know, law school or whatever, right? And getting through all of that stuff, not being like a citizen, being like a immigrant or whatever. And the day when we got called to become Canadian citizens, right? Terry wasn't here. He was in Vancouver at the time. And so it was just me and her, right? Like just spending that day together to be called to be citizens. And just this source of pride like that was on her face when we were in front of the judge and she was telling us, you know what? you pass your exam, and now you're going to be citizens. And I just remember my mom was like, she was almost in tears because she was so excited. And I specifically remember the judge saying, asking her, so, why are you in Canada? Like, she didn't ask me. She asked her. She's like, I really just wanted to make a better life for my kids. And the judge was like, you know what? That's the best thing and she's like, if I had any doubts about you guys, like I'm 100% sure. She's like, that's what every single person who comes to this country, she's like, I talk to hundreds. That's what every single person who comes to this country wants to do. They want to make a better life for themselves and their family. And that really just reinforced to me, like, that's what West Indian parents are about. They want to make a better life for themselves and their family. So I just always remember that moment with my mom, just her and getting our citizenship together and her being so happy and stuff. Yeah.
I feel like that's the case with a lot of parents, individuals who have parents who've migrated from another place.
Yep.
All they want is for their kids to have a better life. That's
their family,
That's it, period.
To just be better, have a better life.
Be better than me. Like, I'm not gonna, like, and that's the beautiful thing about parenting and being a parent is this is the one person that you're not gonna be jealous of.
No, you can't.
And if you are a parent who is jealous of your child, then you have to check yourself.
Yeah.
You really have to check yourself.
For sure. That's messed up.
That's messed up. Yeah. But like, that's one thing. And like, if you are a child who has a parent who is for you, like, lean into that as much as you possibly can.
And trust me, a parent that's like has your back, that can take you places, man.
It really can.
Because they go like out of their way to make sure you get there.
Yeah. I think one of my favorite memories with my parents is seeing them on the cruise, like seeing them on any cruise. That's like my favorite like memory. But like this memory specifically, like we were chilling and I think we were just like all sitting. It was night and we were just sitting and like just chilling and we were just there. And that's probably one of my
just hanging out.
Yeah, that was one of my favorite memories of just us sitting. I think we were on the top deck and one of our aunts were with us too. And we were just sitting looking at the stars.
Oh, that's nice.
It was just nice.
Why do you think you like that memory? Why?
And sometimes, I don't know if that's the case, but sometimes there's no conversation that needs to be happen. But it's just that moment.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
I think that moment stood out to me because I don't know, I just value my parents and I value family so much. It's just one of those things, like, even with like finding like a partner and stuff, like I have to make sure that you are going to mesh with my family.
Yeah, that makes sense.
My family, like we literally have a podcast together. What the heck? Like, you can't get any closer than that. Yeah. But yeah,
we live together.
We live together. Like, it's one of those things where I enjoy being around family. And that's and going back to I think it was our last old talk. We talked about, the whole INFP and like
different personalities,
ENFP and all that stuff, all the different personality types and stuff. I'm an introvert and stuff, right? But one thing that could never drain me is family. Being around my family. That'll never drain me. Like, I can always be around my family and I'll be just fine. So
it's good.
Yeah,
I like that. I like that memory. It's just something simple. Sometimes the simple things, like just sitting in front of a judge, like the simple things. It's not like we were doing some crazy thing.
But that is such a powerful thing, because think about how many other mothers who had to go before judges with their sons.
Yeah, and it wasn't for positive. Yeah,
No.
Especially a black son in a new country. That's huge, right?
It's really a deep void joy.
So I understand why she was almost brought to tears, and then now to see her two sons, in like who've become like something of themselves. It's beautiful. It's beautiful to see that. So I mean, man,
that's good.
I don't mean to make it all sappy.
No, it's good. I think like that's the intention. Like with this one, it's like, we start off talking. It's fun, like the crazy things they do and stuff, the beatings and stuff. But then eventually,
the beatings.
And eventually, as you get older, man, you just really see like, whoa, my parents were so amazing. Like, they did so much for us, right?
And like as you get older, you realize like, oh, they were just kids. Like, that's the craziest part.
Yeah, when you think about their age.
The age that our mom had us,
she was just really kids.
Yeah,
and it's like
she was still developing.
Herself.
Well, your age now is older than when your mom had Trudy, right?
Like that is. So it's like, when you think about it like that in relation,
you really do start
kind of. But then you're also more not lenient, but you're more so like
more understandable.
Understanding.
Yeah, and you become less of a crappy child as you get older because you're just like.
But it's like, oh man, I wish I knew this when I was like 10 or 5.
Honestly, I wish I knew like how hard it is to be a parent
when you were young.
Even though I'm not a parent right now, but like still.
No, but I get where you're coming from.
It's one of those things where you think about it like, dang, like they're actually working really, really hard.
Yeah.
Really hard.
Yep. So what about Trudy?
Yeah, what's
any
one
favorite memory?
Favorite memory? I would say 2. The first is like just going bike riding with my dad. Like that used to just be fun. And I guess for my parents, when I was younger, you'd have friends and they'll be like, summertime. Especially if they're, Caucasian, they might be like, oh, we're going to the cottage, you know, I'm going to summer camp. And I'm just like, oh man, like cottage, summer camp, like what are these things, right? But my parents, no matter what, maybe if we didn't have like the funds for it, they would still find ways to like do fun creative things during the summer. So like, going bike riding, that was a big thing for us.
Going to America.
Driving to New York. Like, we would do, like, these road trips. That's, like, I don't know. I'm not a big fan of road trips. But just the fact that, like, we were all together and we were doing that, like, those were, like, wonderful memories. And then another thing is, like, as Troy was saying, like, my family's really big on family. Going to like the grocery store, like that was like a thing. Like I know, like I would hear some people say, "Oh yeah, my mom goes grocery shopping or my dad goes grocery shopping." But for us, it was like that was an event. Like, we were all going grocery shopping. My mom, my dad, Troy, we're there. Like we would all go together, right? So that's like little things like that, like doing it together. It really just left a wonderful memory for me.
Yeah, that's really cool. I know I gave one, but can I just give one more? Because I don't want it, like my dad, like I have a really good memory with him. And it was learning things. Like, as you mentioned the bike, learning to bike ride, he taught me that. And also learning to fly a kite. Like Easter time, I used to look forward to that because it was us with dad going to fly kites there. So that was really good. Yeah.
That's one thing I actually really want to do because I always hear
we never did kite
flying.
Oh, it's a big thing in the Caribbean.
In the Caribbean. Like that's, I want to go to Grenada and do that.
It's huge. Like there's so much kite flying.
I hope it's still like that.
Okay,
I hope it was
amazing.
Where did that stem from? Where did that come from?
I'm not sure.
I would really like to.
That's a history that will be
maybe next old talk we could talk of some of the historical things from the Caribbean.
That was just something. That was just something that we did. It was just understand like this is the time you go fly a kite. It's the biggest thing.
Yeah, everyone had their kites, and like you don't buy kites from the store. You make kites, or you pay someone who makes kites. So they take the actual bamboo, put it together, and put the paper on top of
those
it.
Kite that they have
in Walmart and stuff. No, you can't come with one of those.
That. No, you have to go with those authentic,
really big, made, and they fly really well. It's amazing, and you can put your own design on your kite, so it's like
incredible.
A reflection of you.
And you can make it like put how so that when it blows, you hear the sound and everything. It's incredible. Yeah.
That was good fun. That was a good time.
Yeah, it's
okay,
amazing.
so I'm just gonna put that out there right now. I am going to be doing a documentary on that specifically.
Kite flying.
That would be
that would be cool.
Pretty dope doc idea.
Yeah, I like that.
I'm doing that specifically in the Caribbean.
So something good came out of it. That's cool. Terry, what's a memory you have?
For me, 2 memories. One with my dad and one with my mom. With my dad, there was two that stood out with me. Like Tari mentioned it, riding bikes. He was a big bike rider. He taught us everything. Like I remember me and Tari learning how to ride bikes. He taught us how to do that. That was a really positive memory. Another one, which it may seem simplistic, but is something that I always remember, is the fact that he used to take me and put me on his shoulders.
Okay.
I really enjoy that. I remember just feeling like I'm so tall. I'm the tallest person. I'm on top of the world. That's how I felt. And I'm just
I know, it's called a Jackie.
and I just
no.
You guys didn't call
on
Jackie?
his, not on his back, on his shoulder.
Oh, on his shoulder.
Yeah, so I always felt like this is how it feels like to be tall. This is how it feels like you can see everything on top of that. So that's something that really...
I was just smiling. The reason I smile is because like I do that with Tim now.
That.
He's always like, whenever we're outside, he's like, "Can I go on Daddy's shoulder, Daddy's head?" He says Daddy's head. Can I go on Daddy's head? And I'm like, I didn't remember that, but that's where I got that from. Yeah, he used to do that with us. That's crazy. I didn't.
I do the same thing with Bella, right? Isabella, because it's such a positive memory that I had that I just want to always do that because I know how nice it felt. With my mom now, one of the one that really stood out for me was when I was graduating college, and we were at our graduation. I had the wrong shoes. I was wearing a black pants and I had a brown shoes. So she went out.
No.
No, but here's the thing. To me, it didn't make a big difference, right? Like whatever, it's just shoes. But she went out of her way to go buy the black shoes for me, and she came into like imagine seeing your mom like trying to find you with like. Just so that you can change your shoes. And I'm like, and I'm telling her, no, mom, it's okay. No, she's like, she made sure she took my brown shoes off and put my black shoe on. And it just made me think, regardless of how old I get, she's always going to see me as a little kid. And she's always going to provide for me, right? And just walking across that, because I keep mentioning that it was a struggle for me in high school and stuff like that. Just walking across the stage and just seeing how, looking at her face and seeing how proud she was, like, oh yes, he actually made it. And you can see that all the hard work, all the things that she put in, she just like, it was worth it because now I get to see him walk across the stage. So
with
at
black shoes.
With his black shoes. So one thing I realized that the graduation at that point wasn't so much for me. It was for her. And that...
Troy doesn't want to go to his graduation.
Well, I mean, Corona and stuff.
No, I'm just saying. It's for your parents. It's for your family.
Because I realized that the graduation was not for me. It was for her. Just to see that hard work that she put in, and she was genuinely proud of what I achieved. So.
And it's funny because when we were talking about the sayings, one of the ones that I thought of, but I didn't say it, is like, because I couldn't remember all of the wording about lifting the nose. And that is such an important thing for West Indian parents. And I guess parents as a whole, like just making, they want their kids to make them proud. And
that's really what it boils down to when you think about it. Like the whole being strict and stuff is like they don't want you acting a fool outside. They don't want you being disrespectful and like people being like, oh my gosh, look at how these boys are behaving.
Like, that's a Philip, that's a Penny. Like,
that's
who
like,
are these?
It's true.
Yeah, so
like your name is so important,
it's
especially
important.
in the Caribbean.
Like, name is huge.
It's
what?
It's huge.
You can't be walking around with like your last name, the Penny last name, and you're acting like a stupid. Like no,
like your dotish,
Yeah,
like your Bazodi.
Yeah, what happened to your Bazodi? What happened to this boy?
Yeah, like you can't do those things. It's like you really have to make your parents proud at the end of the day, right? So anything else you guys want to say? Any other last funny anecdotes from West Indian parents?
One thing I will say is if you are blessed and lucky enough to have your parents, both of your parents, definitely take some time out after this episode. I'm not even going to say this week. After this episode is finished, give them a call and hang out with them. Like, that's something I am doing a lot more now. Is spending as much time as I possibly can with my parents. Just hanging
that's
out
important.
With them. It's so important.
And I guess as Troy is saying, like things that we'd want the family to do is we laugh and we say like, oh, West Indian parents don't say I love you, but
that's
now that we are, like older and like
I like where you're going with this, Trudy,
better and stuff, like we should be able to say, okay, even though I'm the kid here, I love you, Mom. I love you, Dad.
Yeah.
I love you, Mom. I love you, Dad.
Love you, Mom. Love you, Dad.
Love you, Mom.
You're all right, Mom. You're all right. Mom knows. Like I tell her, I
No,
love
you guys. No, that's
I do
that's
that.
one thing. Like you guys, like your family's very.
Anytime
good
I
with
speak
love
to
you.
Mom, I
yeah,
tell
he
her.
always says I love you too.
Well,
Mom.
I go up and give her
Carry
a kiss
hugs
and
and
you know,
Yeah.
lick her if I have to.
Yeah.
No, I'm on that vibe.
Yeah, you guys are similar like that. Like
Yeah.
the physical touch is
No,
like,
I'll give her a good old lick if I have to.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
Not licks, a lick.
a lick,
like-
actual with my
Like,
tongue.
he would lick her face.
Yeah.
Yeah.
so. But the thing is, it's a good point, Trudy. Like as we learn things, like let's not just, and that's something that I find with our generation. Sometimes we do like we learn something, right, and we use it instead of to like lift up and build. We use it to like criticize, like, oh my gosh, I can't believe my parents did this to me or whatever, or they never was there for me.
Yeah.
No, whatever you learn, right? Whatever, information you're picking up, use it as sort of a means to like be like, okay, I'm going to actually take some of this and like do it for my
Apply it,
parents
yeah.
or apply it in my life. So we are learning that like and our group is learning that it's good to say I love you. Or like, don't just say, okay, well, no one ever said I love you to me,
So I'm not going to do it. Yeah.
Yes,
or that's not how it was brought up.
Break
so
the
I'm not
cycle.
break the cycle. And at the same time, too, I also think it's important to still the positive things from your culture and how you were brought up, implement it.
Yeah.
Like I
Because you
I
don't
know,
want to lose your culture.
Yeah,
like-
I've seen some people where it's just like they go completely opposite to everything that they were taught, how they were brought up.
That's a really
they don't
good
want to
point,
have
Judy.
anything to do with it, or they'll just adopt 100%. What the North American
American
culture
culture.
says.
No,
Like,
there's positive in
yeah.
each. Take a blend.
take the good and
Yes, there may be some trauma of like yes, there may be some trauma of not hearing I love you growing up, but now
I'll get in the licks,
licks.
There might
I'll get in
be
the
some
licks.
Yeah.
But now
Yeah.
you take the steps to be
Yeah.
like, Mom, I love you. If your parents were not always there, you go spend time with them. If your parents were not as physical, right, like hugging or whatever, you actually be like, Mom, let me give you a hug or whatever the case may be. It's really important to do that. And Troy, what you're saying is true, especially before you get married or have kids,
Yeah.
because like you have a lot more time now. And for anyone, like use the time you have with your parents, with your loved ones to the best of your ability, right? So.
And also parents, it's never too late to, work on, let's say, a relationship that you might have with your kid. Let's say, things weren't smooth. You can still go back, and I know we joke that West Indian parents don't say I'm sorry, but you can say I'm sorry. Like if you
Yeah.
realize like, okay, maybe the way I disciplined was a bit too harsh, or maybe I did it out of anger most times. You can say, hey, I'm sorry for how I did that, but I did it from a place of love, and maybe I didn't know as much as I should have, right?
Yeah.
So, Mom,
yeah.
if you're listening, I need some sorries for all the lickings I got.
And my parents, if you're listening, I am sorry. I deserved all of it. I was a very terrible child. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry for all of it. But yeah, and another thing I wanted to add, even with language, and this is more so to my African brothers and sisters, if you have a household that speaks a certain language,
Don't pass it on.
please pass
Pass it
it on.
on.
Yes.
Don't
Yes.
Please.
don't
The
lose your
Creole,
language.
Yeah.
that's what happened, right?
Yeah.
We didn't
Yeah,
go
we
fully
lost
into
our
it, but
we lost our
our-
language,
we
which
lost-
I'm
Across the board, I think for the Caribbean, there isn't a
Dominican-
Caribbean
Dominic
Dominica's
is
the only
Dominican,
one
yeah.
that
It's,
still
They have
actually
their
speaks Creole.
other
like
language.
proper
Yeah,
Creole.
like honestly, man, like that's something I was watching that Beyonce movie,
Black is King.
Black is King, and like one
Yeah.
thing that I really like watching the entire thing, I was like, man, I wish that I had like
Yeah.
a language
Language.
that I can speak
Yeah.
with my family and my friends. Like that'll be
And the reason they didn't is because they just wanted to
keep
amongst
something
adults.
talk
Yeah.
amongst
Yeah.
themselves as adults.
yeah.
not
they never
knowing
passed
that
on.
that it would have been lost, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it would be lost to the kids
Yeah.
and like
Because they said adults and children are not companions.
yeah. But like that's definitely something
Yeah.
that again, if you have a language that y'all speak at home, definitely keep that going.
Yeah,
Keep it
language is
Keep it going.
beautiful.
Yeah. And I know you're saying language, but also I've always been proud of like, you know, the accent. Like, you know, if I met people like, and I'm just like, I don't have like a strong Grenadian accent, but I would be amongst like people who are not like West Indian, and they'll be like, oh my gosh, you have like an accent. And I'm like, thank you. It's Grenadian. You know, like I'm proud of it. Yeah. I know there's some people like they hide it or they try to like, you know, downplay it or just like, oh, I'm going to talk like everyone around me.
But think about it.
No, it's beautiful.
The ones from England, they don't.
Nobody says, hide your English.
The Irish, they don't hide their accent.
Oh, yeah. That's part of who they are.
That's who they are. So
let's just what do you mean to hide my accent? I can't have my British accent.
Let's just embrace our Canadian, Caribbean.
Whatever accent you have is beautiful.
It's beautiful.
Yeah. So basically embrace who you are.
Yeah. And also, okay, another thing. Caribbean parents and also like older Caribbean people, listen, if a person like me who was born in Canada, right? If we're speaking...
I know where you're going with this, Troy.
If we are speaking in a Caribbean accent, if we are, you know, doing things like a Caribbean person would, don't call us out on it, because listen,
that's our culture.
That's our culture.
That's what we have.
That's all we have.
That's all you guys talked around us, so of course we must.
I grew up around Grenadian people. I grew up around Jamaican people and Trini people and like a bunch of different people. So forgive me if I could talk the different like speak in different accents and stuff. Forgive me if I could do that. So like whenever you see a young person,
when you say Bunjay, don't be like,
why you know about that? And like, no, just be like, encourage
you're not trying to make fun, because sometimes that's how they feel. No, like, you're making fun of that.
Trust me, I'm not making fun of it. I'm actually expressing
your love for it, your adoration for
the Caribbean, like, and for my heritage and background. But that was my little thing. Like, I always hated it whenever I would say something and like people would always be like, "Oh, why you know about that?" Like, I grew up around you guys my entire life, so obviously
that's
I'm gonna know.
That's all I know.
Like, anyways, that was my little pet peeve. I'm gonna throw it back to Tad.
Yeah, well, guys, honestly, this was one of my most enjoyable episodes doing with you. Kind of, you know, I didn't have to like prepare all these things before, and I'm sure most of you didn't as well. We just kind of talked on our own experience, just dealing with West Indian parents and the community as a whole. You know how interesting it is and the things we learn growing up, and we hope that you who joined us today learned a few things about, you know, the West Indian culture, West Indian parenting. And for those who are already West Indian, you know, we hope it was a nice trip down memory lane. So today we learned about like companions, right? Like that's a common saying that West Indians often say, I am not your companion. That basically me and you, we're not same age. I'm the parent, you're the child.
We're not on the same level.
Yeah, and we also learn about VIX. And the VIX is kind of like a catch-all phrase for like how West Indians have one remedy for a lot of things. It's either the black sage or the tea or the Vicks, whatever, rubbing alcohol, the sap. They have one solution for a lot of things, right? And I also talked about licks. It rhymes with Vicks, but they're not similar. It's something that if you've grown up in a West Indian household, you know what it is. You probably got some sort of punishment, some sort of lick, some sort of beating. But we know it was all meant to help us to be better. That's what we believe, at least in our experiences. And finally, we learned a phrase of expression, of excitement, Bunjay, of surprise, which is Bunjay. So, Troy, thanks for sharing that with us, because that reminded me of all the time my grandmother was like, Bunjay, you finished that podcast already? So thank you very much for joining us today. And we hope you like, subscribe, and rate our podcast on all platforms.
And you can also leave comment about things that you have, like you seeing that you had also from your parents.
Yeah, that's definitely something I definitely want to know all the different sayings. Give me some lick stories, like comment it in the bottom right now, like do all that stuff right now. And yeah, that's pretty much it.
All right, thanks for joining us, guys. Bye.
Bye.